After rebirth, I burned all my design drafts. The day before submitting my graduation project, I withdrew and destroyed it all. I burned every finished piece. Just as I finished doing this, Sarah from my program begged me on her knees not to be reckless. But I was determined to take a break from school. In my previous life, during the graduation exhibit, Sarah's project was identical to mine. Her design concepts were word for word the same as mine. But she completed the work under the guidance of our professor and entered it into the database 7 days before me. She cried and called me a plagiarist, threatened to call the police. The principal, aiming to protect the school's reputation, forced me to publicly apologize, revoked my honors, and expelled me. Even my boyfriend exposed all my personal info to stand up for Sarah and leaked our intimate photos onto the dark web. The relentless online abuse smothered me. The disgusting language was suffocating. In a daze, I went to a high building and jumped. When I opened my eyes, I was back on the day I finished my design. Staring at my drafts, I couldn't calm my racing thoughts. Didn't I die? Then suddenly my phone rang. It was Sarah. I suppressed my anger and answered. On the other end was a voice I knew all too well, a guy's voice. "Hey Mary, my phone's dead." Ran into Sarah, and she asked how your project's coming along? Hearing this, my breath caught, and my body quivered. It was my boyfriend, Ken. His words were odd, yet in my past life, I overlooked them and happily shared my progress. Only now do I realize he was probably in on it with Sarah all along. Feigning frustration, I said, "Still working, feeling kinda blocked." Ending the call, a chill ran through me. In my past life, Ken had led the online mob against me, accusing me of copying Sarah. I was hounded and threatened even at my doorsteps, hiding indoors scared to death. He didn't stop there. He leaked both our intimate photos and my personal information. Creeps started showing up at my door. The memory made me shiver. Luckily, I have a second chance. I didn't plagiarize, and this time I won't let them hurt me. Calming down, I checked out Sarah's social media. She had a few of her design works up. They weren't bad, but nothing special. About to exit, I saw she posted an update. The image loaded and a chill ran down my spine. The image was painfully familiar. It was my newly finished work. Reading the caption, "Finally finished the draft, so exhausted," sent a shiver through me. This draft was very different from her past work. There was no way she'd made it. I compared her post to my design. It was an exact match. Even a tiny dot in the lower corner was the same. Read the comments. "Wow, master level work, how do you even compete?" "But Sarah, aren't you afraid someone might steal it?" "I mean, even if I tried stealing it, I couldn't." "No way. Are you secretly a pro?" "Amazing." Click. The dorm door opened and I quickly hid my designs. My roommate walked in, spotting my frustrated face and ready to vent. "Mary, have you seen Sarah's post? Her design is godly. She used to be worse than me." Last time, I brushed off her rant and hurriedly worked on making the actual product. Only now do I realize that's why, when accused of plagiarism, my roommates didn't back me up. Turns out I was too late. "Sarah." I feigned curiosity, eager to hear more. Hearing my interest, she pulled her chair beside me, fired up her social media I'd memorized, something I'd never forget. "Just by looking at the draft, you can already tell how awesome it'll be in reality." She chatted excitedly, but her words stabbed like needles. "Will I never escape this nightmare?" Just as she noticed something, she kept rambling, oblivious to my agony. "But don't you think her gardenia design looks just like yours?" I was startled, glancing at the black and white gardenia sketched out. The pain flashed by and an idea lit up. I hesitated but finally made the decision. "Anna, what if I told you her draft is identical to mine? Would you believe it?" "What?" Her shock reassured me, so I pressed on. "I just finished mine a few minutes before Sarah's post went up. I thought I was mistaken, but your check confirms it." Still confused, I pulled out a stack of paper with my draft on top, just like Sarah's post. Mouth agape, Anna glanced between the sketches. Shock shut her up. 10 minutes since Sarah posted, and it was impossible for me to create an exact replica in that time, especially when Anna was already back. Quick to catch on, she glared at Sarah's feed, disdainful, knew it was too good to be real. So she stole it, but how? No idea, it defies logic. She thought, "I's meeting mine," worrying. "What will you do? If you can't clear this up, you'll be stuck with that accusation." Watching Anna, her concern appeared genuine. My heart ached, but resolve hardened within. I ripped the designs by halves, shred by shred, bitterness and fury with every tear. Dumping them in the trash, I smiled. If I can't walk this path, I'll just take another. After holding it all in for the entire afternoon, I finally felt relieved, like I'd found a new way out. Anna picked up the pieces that had fallen next to the trash can, looking even more upset than I was. I actually wanted to see the finished product. Anna's phone rang. It was her alarm. She had a part-time job, and after quickly saying goodbye, she left the dorm. Now it was just me again. So much had happened, I just wanted to rest. Lying on the soft bed, I felt like I had been given another chance at life. I wanted to sleep, but when I closed my eyes, a bad feeling welled up. I thought about my boyfriend, Ken. Why did he call me with Sarah's phone right when I finished my design draft? And why did he only show his true colors when I needed help? In my last life, he even joined the gossip train. He said my work was plagiarized and that he'd always been disgusted by me. I thought he hated me, but that call made me wonder. Could Ken and Sarah have been together behind my back for a while? With suspicion, I opened my phone and scrolled through everything Ken and Sarah had posted on social media. I eventually found a photo Sarah had posted 6 months ago of her holding hands with a man, with a cake in front of them. Though the cake was blurry, I remembered Ken posting about that exact cake on his page. I even asked why he was eating cake. He said it was for a friend's birthday party. Sure enough, on checking Ken's page, I found the same cake photo from the same day. So Ken had been with Sarah all along, and it took being reborn to see it. I wasn't heartbroken. The pain from my past life had already filled me with hatred toward Ken. I didn't even want to talk to him. I opened our chat, sent him a simple "let's break up," then blocked and deleted all contact with him. Finally, it felt like all my burdens were gone, and I drifted into a deep sleep. When I woke up, the sky was dark, and everyone else in the dorm had returned. Strangely, their noise hadn't disturbed me. Maybe I was just too exhausted. I got up from bed. Anna noticed I was awake and hurried over, pulling me aside to whisper, "Why'd you sleep so long?" She told me Ken had called her, asking why I suddenly broke up with him. She kept firing questions at me before I could even answer. Although I've gotten Anna on my side, I still don't fully trust her yet. "Did you tell anyone about my stuff?" I asked. She proudly answered, "How could I spill something this big? I've never kept this kind of juicy gossip to myself before, even though you didn't tell me to keep it secret. But I did anyway." I sighed in relief and answered all her questions. When she found out about Sarah and Ken, she was speechless with shock. I wasn't worried about Ken coming after me because guys weren't allowed in our dorm. I had to cut ties with those two traitors. My priority was a new graduation project. I needed to find inspiration. Since I couldn't prove I wasn't plagiarizing, I had to let go of the design. In my last life, Sarah probably used Ken to steal my work and released it first to avoid suspicion. With no classes, I spent days outside searching for inspiration, worried I wouldn't make it in time. I blocked out everyone since I didn't like distractions when working. I didn't even return to the dorm. Instead, I wandered around for days. One day, laying on a hotel bed while lost in thought, an idea suddenly popped into my head. I rushed to the desk, pulling out fresh paper and pens to sketch my inspiration onto the page. Time passed, and eventually, the setting sun cast its last beam across my draft. I put down my pen, the burden finally lifted. Seeing that striking red accent on the costume's final touch felt like therapy. I laughed while sitting on the floor, then cried. Was I finally free? This piece was different from anything I'd done before. I never liked fashion design as much as jewelry. Too many fashion designers, plus fashion rarely matched my vision. This was a whole new me reborn. The fiery crimson symbolized the color from my last life's final moment of despair. Breaking free, finding rebirth. I visited every local tailor shop to stitch together my vision of the dress. Returning to the hotel, I felt truly at ease. I thought ditching my last life's designs would solve everything. But when I opened Sarah's social media, I went silent. The first thing I saw was a familiar red. Suddenly, I felt like I was plunged into icy water, overwhelmed by a numbing chill. I struggled to calm down, took a deep breath, and dug into her page. The latest post showed my design draft and the outfit I painstakingly made. Identical design and clothing, released again without my knowing. How could this be happening again? I'd avoided everyone this time, but it still happened. Angry, I smashed my finger on the screen, wanting to tear apart Sarah with sheer fury. Would I always be branded a copycat, driven to despair and suicide? The earlier post was a photo of a torn design draft, captioned about having her work destroyed. In a few hours, her posts built up likes and comments. These were posted only a day after my first piece. A new post followed with the caption, "Bummed but not defeated. New work coming." People even screenshot this drama for the campus forum. Within minutes, it went viral. A lot of people are singing praises about Sarah's work and her spirit. Wow, is this a masterpiece or what? Can't believe how stunning anyone looks wearing her designs. Whose life? Mine. Some people are so gross their jealousy is off the charts. Such a shame about the last project. Hey genius, can I get some tips? Someone even made a poll to pit me against Sarah. I'm always winning awards for my work, so much so that people at school jokingly call me a trendsetter. But Sarah used to be just another face in the crowd. Now she's being compared to me using my own designs no less, and it disgusts me. I've got an idea. I made a fake account and messaged Sarah. I wanted to see what was really going on. She accepted pretty quickly. I said I saw her work on the school forum and thought it was excellent, got her contact through a friend. I asked about her inspiration and why her recent designs were so different. I was eager to see how she'd respond. After waiting forever with no reply, I felt a bit relieved. She didn't dare answer. Just as I was relaxing, my phone buzzed. I got a call. It was Anna. I got this bad feeling right away. I picked up slowly, her voice filled with worry and urgency. "Mary, check out the school forum. Sarah's claiming you threatened her and stole her work." In disbelief, I switched over to the forum. Top post was Sarah's statement. "Hey everyone. I'm Sarah, and I want to clear something up that someone asked me about." Attached is the message I got from someone asking about my designs. She explained her inspiration came from herself, then addressed the second question. That the earlier designs weren't hers because someone had threatened her. She couldn't name that person because they're well known at school. All her designs were taken, but she wanted to reclaim herself with her latest work. That's why she named it Break Free Rebirth, which is her inspiration too. Thanks to everyone for your support. The comments took off. A lot of people were interested in this whole threatened aspect. They started speculating who might have stolen Sarah's designs. Some even guessed it might be me. More people were discussing whether it was me. Doesn't that torn design remind you of Mary the Trendsetters? Now that you mention it, she always uses gardenias in her work. Gardenias symbolize restraint. Isn't that just like Sarah? If all the works are Sarah's, can't imagine how much recognition she lost. Wow, you guys are sharp. I'm just here for the drama. I felt like I was reliving the past, everything building up to bury me with evidence. I packed up my stuff and moved out. Back at school, people whispered to each other whenever they saw me. Just like before, but not as intense now. I didn't go straight to class. Instead, I headed for the counselor. I told him everything. When did you start feeling depressed? Yesterday. The counselor was silent. I'll take you to the psychologist for a test. You'll get a leave of absence if you pass. Facing the same counseling room felt hopeless, like nothing changed. But even being here meant things were different now. The psychologist asked loads of questions, some about what might have led to suicidal thoughts. I told him it was because Sarah stole my work and my boyfriend cheated on me with her. He looked shocked, jotted something down, and handed me a paper to fill out. Remembering how it went last time, I filled it out easily. No surprise, I got approved. So I took a 6-month break from school. No pressure to finish my graduation project for now. Leaving the counseling room, I couldn't help but laugh. Getting a leave for mental health isn't easy, but I did have depression before. If I destroy my work, how is Sarah gonna graduate? Unless Sarah gets in a car accident and is half paralyzed, I don't think she'll manage. Since then I realized what was fishy. Why did Sarah's design get trashed the day after mine? If it's not a coincidence, then whatever I had, she had. If I didn't, she didn't either. This time I have to set things right. Sarah, your luck's running thin. I posted on the school forum. Sorry to take up your time, but I need to clarify a few things. First, I didn't threaten Sarah or take her designs. All my projects are my own work. Second, this whole situation has messed up my life so much that I now have mental health issues and am taking a leave of absence. I urge everyone not to jump to conclusions before the truth is out. My post quickly shot to the top, pulling in heaps of mocking comments. She's scared, running away now? Never seen someone cut off their escape route like this. If there wasn't a threat, where's the proof? Oh, there's none. My so-called clarification seemed more like dodging responsibility, making me look guilty. I laughed it off, knowing this would happen. Most were siding with Sarah, dismissing my explanation. I went back to my dorm. Inside was only Anna, busy on a call. She hung up fast when she saw me. Mary, was that design really yours? I nodded silently. I didn't know what Anna thought of me. Guilt washed over me for proof of my wicked side. Now that you're on a break, how about visiting my granny? You might be cursed and she can fix that. I was taken aback and couldn't find this possibility. Seeing me stunned, she came right out and said, "Trust me. My grandma can definitely help you. Just think of it as a trip." I followed Anna to her hometown. Her grandma's house was on the edge of the mountains, and it was a long journey to get there. But the surrounding scenery was stunning. The beautiful landscapes along the way helped me forget my worries from the past few days and gave me a fresh perspective. Anna had told her grandma she'd be back today, and the old lady was waiting at the door early. "Grandma." Anna's grandma was delighted to welcome us inside. We exchanged a few pleasantries before Anna got straight to the point. "Grandma, do you remember I told you about my roommate's stuff mysteriously ending up with someone else? You said it was cursed?" After Anna spoke, her grandma nodded and then looked at me intently. "You're Mary, right?" I nodded politely. She got up and motioned for me to follow her. I followed her into a little room. When she opened the door, I was stunned. Inside were all sorts of magical tools I'd only seen in TV shows, and many others I'd never seen before. "I can see your past," she said, catching me off guard. So I cautiously asked, "I've actually had a past life." She chuckled and said, "Wrist-cutting." I finally believed that Anna's grandma could really help. So I followed her instructions and slowly broke the curse. Afterward, I knelt and apologized to her. She quickly helped me up and said, "Thank Anna for that." I told Anna about my experience and my rebirth. Although she was shocked and a bit heartbroken, she patted my back and said, "It's okay. I'm glad you told me." Looking at her smiling face, I couldn't help but tear up. I didn't know how to repay them, but Anna said, "Just visit my grandma often. She's at home alone and doesn't have many people to talk to. If we visit her, she'll be really happy and I'll be happy too." I nodded and hugged Anna tightly. Since I'd taken time off from school, I didn't have to worry about time, but Anna had classes and hurried back to school after 2 days. I went back home too, but before leaving, I promised Grandma I'd visit her often. In the next couple of days, I explained everything to my parents. They were worried but couldn't do much about it, so they just let me be. To thank Anna, I treated her to a meal and gave her lots of suggestions for her graduation project, which made her very happy. After that, I spent my days at home, watching shows and mindlessly scrolling through videos. Life was really chill. Then I looked at the calendar and realized there were only 2 weeks left to submit my graduation work. Suddenly, I remembered something. That day, Grandma told me the curse gives the beneficiary what they want from you. But once the curse is broken, those benefits will backfire on them with lots of trouble. You just need to destroy that item first. I packed up the design sketch of that dress, planning to burn it the next day. A sudden knock interrupted my thoughts. It didn't sound like my parents, so I went to the door and looked out through the peephole. It was a man and a woman, both familiar faces. Ken and Sarah. I opened the door without hesitation, curious about what this couple was up to. When Ken saw me open the door, he immediately shielded Sarah and shouted, "Mary, how can you not stand seeing others do well? You threatened Sarah for that thing, but now you're hurting her?" I asked calmly, "How am I hurting her?" The ripped design supposedly copied elements from a well-known domestic designer. "If it weren't for you, Sarah wouldn't be receiving a lawyer's letter. You should confess that you asked for it and take full responsibility, then we can forgive you." I suddenly remembered that a part of that design was inspired by my cousin, and my cousin is that famous domestic designer. Sarah was staring at me with hate, and I found it hilarious. The thief of my design wanted me to take the fall after getting into trouble, and with such an entitled attitude. "Alright, but Sarah, how about you clarify that you cursed me and it's my design?" I smirked at her, and her face went pale. "Mary, what nonsense are you babbling? Don't pretend to be dazed." Ken's anger rose, as if he wanted to kill me. Seeing them like this, I felt quite pleased. Since you don't like my suggestion, find someone else then. I closed the door without caring about Ken's cursing. But Ken wouldn't let it go, banging on the door, yelling for me to open it with some choice words. Finally, the neighbors couldn't stand it and told them to quit, so they left. I opened the school form to see what was going on. I was shocked at what I saw. For 2 days, discussions about Sarah plagiarizing a famous designer's work had been going on non-stop. There were even threads with thousands of comments. Sarah's attempt at explanation only made her look guilty. I didn't plagiarize Mary's design. This design was something Mary asked me to make for her, and I wasn't aware it was plagiarism. So it's on Mary. You think we're idiots? First you said Mary threatened you, now you're saying she asked you. Are you just trying to shift the blame? How did this person even survive until now? I'm really curious. If it were my design, it wouldn't have led to lawyers' letters. But now that Sarah stole it, this is what she gets. I think Sarah's getting hit with the curse's backlash. And then I laughed out loud. Don't worry, Sarah, the real drama's just getting started. Unable to handle it, Sarah had Ken call me repeatedly to make me bear the blame. The first couple of times I answered to see what he'd come up with, but it was just him telling me to take responsibility and insulting me. I rolled my eyes, wondering why I used to like someone like him. Luckily, Sarah didn't mind picking him up. After I blocked Ken, the world seemed to quiet down. Tomorrow, students in the design major have to submit their projects all together. I quickly headed out, found an open space, and destroyed all my design clothes and design drafts. I didn't feel bad because I had photos and could make them again. But could Sarah say the same? I leisurely returned home, looking forward to seeing Sarah's scandal tomorrow. What I didn't expect was Sarah showing up at my doorstep. I couldn't help but think how fast she was, just burned it and there she was. Facing this unexpected guest, I sarcastically said, "Why aren't you organizing your designs and coming here, Miss Sarah?" As soon as Sarah heard my voice, she turned around in a panic, looking really worried. She pulled on my clothes, pleading, "I'm sorry, Mary, it was my fault. Can you remake the clothes? I'm begging you. I'll do anything." I looked at her meaningfully, scoffed, and then said, "All right." She instantly got excited and thanked me repeatedly. But my next words left her frozen. "You admit you stole my work and then quit school." Clearly, Sarah wasn't going to do that. As she left, she threatened, "Mary, just wait. If I stole from you once, I can do it again." I was indeed a bit scared. But what work do I have left for her to steal? Still, I felt a bit worried, so I called Anna and asked for Grandma's number. I called Grandma and told her about today. She told me not to worry, that nothing would happen because she had cast a spell on me, and I wouldn't be cursed again. Relieved, I waited to see what Sarah was up to. On the day of the project exhibition, I headed to school. Each student had to draw lots to present their work, introducing their inspirations and unique features. 10 leaders would score them. I wore a mask and glasses, but someone still recognized me. 2 people approached me cautiously, bowed, and apologized for jumping to conclusions before. Now that public opinion has shifted, people started apologizing to me, and they were part of those apologizing. I assured them it was okay. No one's criticizing me anymore, and lots of people are adding me on message to apologize. I've accepted them all, and now my reputation's heading in the right direction. Many went before Sarah, and I was curious about what she'd present. When she brought out the clothes, I couldn't help but chuckle. The clothes didn't showcase the design's features at all, and that deep red was replaced with pink, which hurt the visual appeal. I watched her with interest. She looked panicked and pale-faced. The judges waited as she struggled to speak, finally asking, "Sarah, what's the inspiration behind your design? And what makes this outfit special?" Sarah seemed to make a decision and shakily said, "It was inspired by myself. Because of what I went through as a child, I had no hope. The design represents a new hope, so I created this outfit." She didn't finish before whispers broke out. I caught a few sentences. Wasn't this inspired by someone threatening her, and her brave fight back? Yeah, did you notice that it isn't the same as what we saw online? Could it be that she really stole from Mary? This time, the questioning targeted Sarah, and she lost control, breaking down in tears. She quickly told the judges she needed a bathroom break. She practically ran out. I followed her to the bathroom. When she saw me, it was like she clung to her last straw, pleading, "Mary, please help me. I was wrong. I shouldn't have cursed you." If you let me pass the graduation design, I'll do anything. I'm not known for sympathy. Seeing her like this, I couldn't hold back a laugh. I pulled out my phone and tapped it. Sarah, last time I forgot to record, so I couldn't reveal the truth. This time I didn't forget. Her already pale face turned colorless, and she knelt, speechless. I returned to the exhibition hall. I got on stage and greeted everyone. Hello, I'm Mary. You might wonder why I'm here. I'm not here to present a design, but to clear my name. I played the recording from my phone into the microphone. Sarah's voice echoed, Mary, please help me. I was wrong. I shouldn't have cursed you. If you let me pass the graduation design, I'll do anything. After it finished, the murmuring below didn't stop. I continued, although it's ridiculous and unbelievable. Sarah stole my work and accused me of threatening her to make me design for her. Everyone was fooled. I didn't do anything. My hard work was stolen, and now she's begging me for help. From that point on, those who criticized me on the school forum all apologized. The backlash against Sarah got worse. Her graduation project wasn't approved. Furthermore, smearing a classmate and stealing someone's work got her a 3-year prison sentence. During the record-taking, she begged for my forgiveness, and I silently mouthed 3 words. Are you worthy? Ken apologized and begged to get back together. I was dismissive and left without exchanging much. Every now and then when I had time, I'd visit Grandma with Anna. It made Grandma happy. After graduation, a company noticed my talent and recruited me. So I started a new chapter in life. My 2 designs were improved and re-released, becoming fashion pieces. The end.